Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another video. We're not making a card today though, we have a 3D theme for our Stamp Around UK video hop this month. So it's the first, which means we've got our nice round of videos. Do check out the links in the description below. So there'll be links to other YouTube channels, see what they've made as well. So 3D projects aren't my forte, I am a card maker. So I have rustled up a little mini album. I have made one of these before, long time ago. And just a slight variation on a theme from what I did before. I've kept it quite plain. There is no stamping on this at all, which I realised afterwards. I was like, oh, I haven't actually got any ink out today. That's not to say you couldn't add stamping to this to decorate it further or whatever, but anyhow. Now, I've used some retired designer series paper to make my sample because I wanted to get it right and I didn't want to cut into stuff that was current. So I loved this one. It was something like In Symmetry or something was the stamp set, but this was the coordinating DSP. So anyway, I had some of that knocking around, and I've made this, and I've used the iridescent striped ribbon as a closure. I've just put summer across the front there, a nice decorative panel, and I've brought in some Calypso coral, and you'll see why in a minute. So when we untie it and open it up, it opens out and there are some little journaling tags, so you could punch a hole and put some extra ribbon on there if you wanted to. There's another panel at the back to either stick a photo to, you know, those little mini Polaroid photos that are trendy these days. They'd probably fit on there. I think they're 2.5 by 3, those little mini Polaroids, so they would fit on there. Couldn't remember off the top of my head what those were. Now, when I've made this before, I've glued down this pocket, but I've actually left it open because it means that if you have got something that's a little bit larger that you want to slot in, that's memorabilia or something from an event or whatever, you've got that room to sort of have that just out. So on this one, I've used that same designer series paper all the way through. This was one 12 by 12 sheet that I made this one with, and I cut it down into 4 6 by 6 pieces, one piece being the front and back cover, and the other 3 making these each double layout of the page. Okay, and I've kept mine with the Night of Navy coming out. The Calypso coral has come in because the flip side of that paper, so I've bent this over, okay, the flip side of that paper had this in, and I put those on top because I realised that when I wasn't paying attention and those flowers were upside down, so covering those up just disguises that a little bit, but you've got the Calypso coral coming through, so I've put that into that panel and I've put in the extra tabs there, okay, but you can glue these down if you want to, particularly in the middle maybe, if you wanted those to be a little bit more secure, and just rounded the corners and made it all pretty. Like I say, you can stamp on these, do whatever you want to jazz them up even further, but I just wanted to share the actual concept of making this. And then I've used the alphabet a la mode to put that on. Had a lot of debate about whether it should go that way or that way and everything, but it ended up that way round. And that's it really. It's quite a sturdy thing. Okay, so I'm going to make a larger one in terms of the number of pages. I'm going to do more pages, and you want to get that tied up nice and tight as well. So I'm just going to loosely tie that up and put it to one side for the time being. So I'm going to do another one using the 2024 in colours. Okay, so we've got 6 by 6 paper in 5 colours, and I'm actually going to do 2 pages in each, so we're going to end up with 10 pages on the inside. So that gives you a bit more flexibility and everything. Okay, so the sad thing is that you're going to lose one side of your paper, but you know, it is what it is. I've used obviously 2 sheets of each of the patterns, and there are 4 in the pack, so there's loads of scope to mix and match the patterns if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so let's get our inner pages done, and just show you what I did with these. Okay, so obviously with it being 6 by 6, we don't need to cut this down at all, but what we're going to do is we're going to do some scoring. So my top tip, to make sure you don't accidentally cut your DSP. That might be why the front of the other one ended up with DSP on the front, by the way, because I accidentally cut it. I'm going to pop some tape across here, which is going to stop me from accidentally picking this blade. Okay, so if you're using a directional paper, just bear that in mind before you start cutting and scoring. And just bear in mind, we're going to be flipping up a section, right? So my folded up section is going to run like that, with these bubbles sort of in more of those lines that are straight. If you want the bubbles to end up in a straight line across, you may want to flip your cardstock around, or your paper around. Okay, so I want mine to match what I've already done, because I've already got some of this prepared, because otherwise this video is going to take some time. So we're going to score in half at 3, and I like to go up and down about 3 times on DSP. Don't press too hard. And then I've rotated that anti-clockwise for me. If you find it easier to do it the other way around, then that's fine. And I use this side of the track to measure my 1 inch there and pop that in. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with each of these pieces of paper. Okay, 3, turn, and go for 1. Okay, so there is you know, a reasonable amount of repetitive steps in this, so please do, if you feel the need to fast forward through, then please do so. But for those of you who like to watch the whole process, here it is. Okay, and so I've already done this with the other 5 pieces that I'm going to use today. 3 and 1. There we go. Now I don't think we're going to use the trimmer again, because I've already pre-cut all the little bits for the inside, so obviously I'll just give you the measurements of those when we come to them. So now we can just make sure we do all our burnishing. So that score line is going to be the wrong way, if you like, so just give it a bit of encouragement. And I like to make sure that this corner where the double layer is nice and lined up. Give that a good crease and then do the rest. So obviously we need to do that with all the pieces. And using a bone folder will give you those nice sharp creases. Okay, so we'll get all those done. It was actually quite good fun designing this. It's cool. Of course you can adjust the size of this, so if you've got 12 by 12 paper and you want to make something a little bigger, then obviously you can do that. And really your scoring is just going to suit whatever you want to make. Now I could have made that pocket bigger. I could have gone 2 inches and made it a sort of short fat sort of little album as well, so that's another variation. Okay, and obviously with 12 by 12 you've got lots of options, haven't you? You've got a whole pack of paper, so the full 12 by 12 sheets, those will be double-sided, they'll all have coordinating colours in them. And you get 12 sheets, so in theory you've got 12 pieces that you can cut into and make good. The next step we need to do is do the corner rounding. Now this is kind of, I'm going to say this is optional because there isn't actually a corner rounding punch available in the Stampin' Up catalogue at the moment. This is one that retired, but I held on to it because I like it. So if you've got a corner rounder, then you can use that. This is where I get lots of paper everywhere. I think the rounded corners just give it a little bit of that little extra something, makes it look a little more finished in my personal opinion. Okay, and you get these lovely little punchy bits to just get rid of. So I do love that. What is this called now? Oh, I've used it so much, the little silver bits are starting to rub off. I can't remember what it was called now. Very Best Trio, maybe something like that. Okay. So we've got all those rounded. Okay, and as I say, I've already started to build the inside pages of this book. Okay, so I'm going to go Petunia Pop, Summer Splash, Peach Pie, Shy Shamrock, and Pretty in Pink. Okay, and then we're going to do we're going to go into in reverse order. Okay, so let's just make sure I am concentrating on that and make sure we do that in the right order. So we're going to pop those to one side in the order that they need to be, because we're going to start building this now to work from the outside, from the inside out. Okay, so I'm going to work from the Pretty in Pink outwards, and I'm going to use the Tombow glue, the green glue, whatever you want to call it, liquid multi-purpose glue. Apparently it has different names in different places depending on what you're used to. So I'm going reasonably close to the edge, but not too close, because you don't want it to leach out. If it does, don't worry, you can use your adhesive remover. And I'm going to take the next sheet and I'm going to line it up with this outer edge. For a minute then I thought I was doing that wrong because I could see that pattern. Right, so I'm going to make sure this outer edge that we're going to see is well lined up. I'm not going to be as fussy about what's happening on the spine portion. I want this bit to look neat because this is the bit we're going to see. Okay, so this bit might not be quite lined up, but that's okay. And I'm just going to run the bone folder over that just to make sure it's lined flat. Okay, so basically we're just going to rinse and repeat now, and just keep laying the pages down. And I'm doing this first so that all this wet glue can, we can make sure all the wet glue is completely dry basically. So again, just going to line up that outer edge that we're going to see as precisely as I can. Okay, so that's Shy Shamrock. Oops, a bit close to the edge there. Lining that up. Hopefully that's you can see what I'm doing okay. And you know what, your cutting might not be actually, do you know what it is? Sometimes the DSP isn't cut exactly either, but you know, get it as close as you can. Right, it's handmade after all, right? Okay. So, and again, I'm just gonna make sure that that's nice and flat. It's peach pie. And next is Summer Splash. Summer Splash and Shy Shamrock are quite close in colour. So I deliberately wanted to make sure that they were separated out when I was constructing this. And then last of all, we've got our petunia pop. Okay. So that's all stuck down now. Okay, so we start with petunia pop and we end with petunia pop. Got pretty in pink in the middle, Shy Shamrock, peach pie, Summer Splash, petunia pop. So those are all our pages stuck together, which means we're going to have a much bulkier spine portion on here. Okay, and it is a bit wibbly wobbly and stuff, which is fine, it's going to be, okay, but it opens up flat in the middle, which is good. Sometimes when you do something bulky like this, you find that it won't sit flat in the middle, but this will. And then I'm just going to take a quick measurement of this because I'm going to have to do my spine part of my, I'm going to say 3/4 of an inch is the spine on that at the thickest point. Okay, so that's what we'll work to when we're making that. But what I want to do is make sure that that's completely dry. So I'm just going to pop some acrylic blocks on that and just leave it to one side, okay, to make sure that that's all nice and firmed up. Okay, so here's all the bits and pieces that I've already cut ahead of time. So we've got pieces that we're going to make into our various tags. So the little tags that go into the pockets are here. I'm going to use black as my layering with this one. It's going to look really, really nice as a contrast, okay? So for those, I've cut my basic black to 2.5 by 4. And the basic white is 2 3/8 by 3 7/8 of an inch. Okay. And then the panels that go inside, we've got our coloured cardstock to match, which I might not have enough of. Might need to cut more of those. Is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And the panels are going to be 2 5/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, so that's those. And then this is going to be the front panel. This is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So here I'm going to just rely on my trusty seal adhesive, okay, to layer all this stuff together. Okay, so I've already rounded all the corners. Okay, so that's our front panel. I'm going to pop that to one side. Okay, and then when I do multiples, oops, you can't see that up there. I do tend to try and sort of minimise the amount of repetition by sort of gluing things ahead of time. Spread them across the desk like this. Try not to overlap them though, otherwise they'll stick together. Obviously, if you've got the space, then that's marvellous. And then we can get all these layered up reasonably quickly So it takes the time is taken in getting everything cut down, really. Okay, but that nice skinny layer, just use you know, just if you prefer to use wet glue and give yourself some wriggle room on getting those layers right, then obviously you do that. But I really like seal. I like it because it's fast, and I always get a bit sticky and gungy when I use a lot of the multi-purpose glue. Oh, my cutting went a bit wonky on that one, but never mind. Must have not had it in the punch quite right. So those are all our little tag inserts ready and made. Okay, and then we can do exactly the same thing with our little inserts. Now I think I've only got half the amount that I need on this. So we'll see that in a minute. And what I'll do is I'll cut some more off camera. So it'll just be exactly the same thing. In fact, what I might do is not glue those together so I've got the measurements. Because knowing me, I shall forget. And we'll do exactly the same with this. Ooh. Almost. It's really warm here today. I think everything's a bit sticky. So I've actually ended up, I've cut 2 each of these. And I think I'm going to need 4. Because I think, I'll check it in a second. Because I think I've got a double page of each colour twice, haven't I? That's what I think. And we'll find that out in 1 minute. Okay, there's one of each colour done. Okay. That's the order, I think. Okay. Let's bring in our little, whoops, our pages. Yeah, so I need 2 at the front and the back, don't I? So, okay, so that's going to go there, 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 and there. I've got the other half, but I need to cut 2 more of each of those to finish it off. Okay, so I'll be back when I have done that. Okay, so I did all the extra panels that I needed for the inside there. So I miscalculated that because I was basing it on what I'd already made. Okay, so you're going to need 4 each of those. Okay, so 4 times 5 is 20, so you need 20 of those panels. Okay, rounded the corners on them, and I'm just using my Stampin' Seal, but I'm just going to line that up with that rounded edge there and pop those into place onto here. And what that's done now as well is it's made this really, really sturdy, but it's also balanced out this folded over section as well. Okay, so when I was measuring the spine, it was pinching here because it was only a single sort of sheet, but now that spine's nice and even. Okay, so approximately 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. All our inner pages with our panels glued there, and then these are the tags that will end up going into the middle. Okay, so we've got our front cover to do. Okay, so I've already done the panel that will end up on the front. Okay, which I'm just going to keep plain for now. Actually, no, I have something I have prepared for that actually. So the cover, I've opted for some basic beige. Okay, so this is a piece of A4 lengthways, which I've already cut down to 5 1/4, I believe. Yes, so it's 5 1/4 high at the moment. Okay, so we want to obviously pop that in on there. Okay, so I shall be using, oh, I do need the trimmer actually, because I need to score a little bit more and trim this down. Where did I put the sample? Got it. Stop looking. So, because I know that that's going to be the same. What did I score it at? Yeah, 3 1/4. To make my front panel. So there we go. We'll score it, not cut it. Score it at 3 1/4. Our spine needs to be 3/4, so we'll move that up to 4. But what I'm going to actually do is put some extra score lines in at the 3 1/2, 3 3/4 point as well, which will help it bend. Okay, so that's going to be that. So we've got that sort of triple spine there, and then from there we now need to score at well, cut actually. We'll cut it off at 3 3/4. So what I'm actually going to do is just bend that at that last score line and use that as my guide there. So what did I say? 3 1/4. So I'm going to line up that with 3 1/4. She says, making that look really, really hard. Okay, and we'll cut it off there. I've got a nice little piece of scrap there. Okay, let's bend this one. So those additional score lines will help that sort of bend around a little bit. More like, you know, like a book spine would. So it gives you that sort of rounded shape here. Okay, and then that is going to fit inside there. Hey, right. So in keeping with the inside, I'm going to just pop the corner around her on there. Like so. Obviously, like I say, that is optional, so you know, if you don't want to do that bit, then don't. Okay, and then obviously this needs to glue inside here, so I'm just eyeballing my border there. But what you're going to have to be careful of is that you're going to end up with it bowing a little bit. So what I'd like to do is sort of lie it flat and then eyeball it that way, which means then hopefully when you come to close it, you'll have enough room in that spine for it to move. Okay, she says. Okay, might have to just think about, just give me 1 minute to think about it, because you know the that is going to want to pull away from that. We're not going to put any glue there to give it that room, but I want to make sure it's got the room to open. Okay, because that's going to pull on the sides. Okay, think it'll be okay. Okay, well, we'll find out in a minute. Right, okay. With making a thick thing, and you know, this is why these things take me a long time to fathom out and design. Okay, right, ribbon closure needs to go in before we stick that in though, so I'm going to pull in some coordinating basic beige ribbon. Slop a bit of that off. Okay, and we'll secure that across the middle. We don't need to use anything fancy, I'll just use some sticky tape. Just pop that into place, because the rest of the adhesive should do the job. Making that look hard as well, aren't I? I want to try and make sure it's sitting flat. So I just want enough to secure it into place, really. Okay, and then we can pop in our insert. So what I think we're going to do is, if we use the wet glue, hopefully we'll have a bit of wriggle room if we need it. And I'm going to concentrate it on the outer edge here and leave that middle sort of third. Which way up's that got to go? That's the top, that's the bottom. Get that to the middle-ish. And pop that into place. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Ooh, headbutt the camera. Can't see exactly where that is. I think it's about there. And a bit higher up. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tight otherwise. So let's wrap that round while it's still wet. There we go. Right. Will it open enough? I think it will. Okay, and so giving it that room in the middle will just help it. If it needs to move, it'll need to move. Okay, and we'll wrap this around. Try and get it lined up. Okay, and again, you know, you want to give that a bit of time to set, ideally, but we need to be getting cracking with getting this all finished now. It's a very long video, but hopefully that's run out now, so that's good. I knew it was going to, so we'll just pop a new one in. Just takes a minute just want to make sure that that rolls through. I haven't caught enough of the glue on the cardstock. There we go. And then we'll pop this on the front. And for these ones, I've used the a la mode dies, a la mode alphabet and number dies. So we've got the 2, a 0, a 2 and a 4 to make 2024. Okay, and I'm hoping that they will fit over here just about, and then there's still room to put something on there and personalise it or whatever, or the recipient can do that. Okay, so I'm going to use some blocks to help me keep that flat while we glue those into place. You could of course cut those with your what do you call them, adhesive sheet things, okay, if you've got some of those. So you only want little snippets of glue on these, so just go real gentle with that. And try not to bend them as you try and put them onto the card. Now when I'm doing something like this, I work from the outside edges in to try and make sure that the spacing's going to work out as I want it to. Doesn't always work out, but we shall try. So just, if you get a bit too much of the glue on, use some scrap, take some of it off, or try and spread it with the nib of your. I'm trying to press really, really gently and not have too much come out at once. Okay, we're almost there. Like I say, I haven't gone to town decorating all the inside with any stamping or anything like that, but you know, that's stuff that you can decide upon. Ooh. There we go. That's only a thin snippet of glue, so that should stick quite nicely, and hopefully it opens up enough without being, yep, so it doesn't open fully, but we can go through those quite nicely. We can pop in our little tags, and again, if you wanted to secure the bottoms of those, you can. I haven't made enough of these either, have I? No. So let's just pop those in that side then. Yep, so I need some more of those as well, but you get the idea. Okay, so there we go, a little album that has a tie closure, so we can tie that up and give that as a gift. So obviously you're going to need to, I just popped something heavy on there to make sure that stayed closed while I tied my bow. Okay, and obviously you can make that nice and pretty and everything as well. Okay, so that is it. That's my little mini journal, or traveller's little memorabilia thing. Okay, all right. Hope you've enjoyed that. Anyway, it's a really long video and it's given you an idea. You know, these aren't my forte kind of thing, so there's probably something better that I could have done with the spine. Okay, but it works. It's okay. It's good. Okay, I'm quite proud of myself actually. Something that's not in my usual wheelhouse of stuff to make. Here's the original one that sort of started it all off. So, you know, if you want to make something a little smaller, you know, and adjust it or make it all monochromatic like I have with this one, or use lots of colours like this one, the world is your oyster when it comes to choosing your paper and everything. Okay, so that's it from me today. Don't forget to click the links, visit all the other YouTubers. We're all Stampin' Up demos, using Stampin' Up products. It'd be great to have your support, your likes, subscribes, comments and all that jazz. And that's it. Thanks ever so much. Stay safe, take care, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye.